Many parts of South Africa have experienced a drought this year, which makes an ancient custom all the more relevant to us today.
It is known as the Purtassi fast, and it's named after the month in the Tamil calendar that corresponds to September.
It commemorates a time in Tamil Nadu when a prolonged drought had left the people of the land facing starvation. They prayed to the Lord Vishnu for help, and the rains came.
To honor the vows they made, a month-long fast has been kept ever since, and during this time, only vegetables may be eaten.
This morning's Mela menu is inspired by Purtassi, and it's a vegetarian delight.
South Indians observe a vegetarian fast over the month of Purtassi. I'm keeping it simple today. A classic sugar bean curry, roti, and sweet lentil fritters called Fritters. I'm starting out with the sugar bean curry. First ingredient going into the pot, some sunflower oil. And then whole spices, a bay leaf, a little cinnamon stick, and a pinch of cumin seeds. The seeds have started to sizzle already. Chopped onion. Sugar bean curry is one of those curries that I enjoy in my home at least once a week, and it's quite a simple dish. I've boiled some sugar beans already. You soak them overnight and boil them until tender, or you can cheat and use tinned bolotti beans. Season the onion with salt, about 1.25 teaspoons coarse salt. The onions are light golden, some ginger and garlic paste, about 2 teaspoons. Red chili powder, I like this quite spicy. 2 tablespoons going in on the side of the pan. And potatoes. I've quartered these potatoes. I do like them quite chunky in the curry. Green chili. Stir the chili and the potatoes around. Coat the potato in the spicy onion and chili mixture. I'm using roasted spices in this curry. 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, 1/2 teaspoon of coriander, and then a touch of garam masala. Turmeric. Stir that through for a few seconds. It doesn't need lots of heat. And now boiling water. The type of potato you use in this curry is very important. I wouldn't recommend a waxy potato. Floury ones work well. Reduce the heat and leave this to simmer until they're just about done. We'll add the beans later. Onto the rotis. For the rotis, you need some cake flour, about 1 teaspoon of fine salt, and then super hot water. I'm using 2 cups of flour and a cup of boiling water. Now use the wooden spoon, mix the boiled water into the cake flour to get a crumbly consistency. Sunflower oil into the dough, use the wooden spoon again. That's cooled down slightly. It's important to work quite quickly with the roti dough. Use your hands and work the ingredients together until a soft dough forms. Let's come together nicely. It's important to knead the dough so you get a really soft roti. Making rotis gets easier each time you do it. Now roll that into a length and divide it into 8 pieces. Roll each piece of dough into a length and coil them up. 1 coil to the top, 1 to the bottom, sort of a squiggly S. And turn one side on top of the other. Half of it to the top and half to the bottom. First flour going onto the work surface, and then flatten down those portions of dough. I'm pressing down slightly harder on the one side than the other, and that's to get the dough to turn around. This does take practice. First one done. And always put the flour on the work surface and not on top of the dough. They don't have to be perfectly round, they just have to taste good. There we go. To cook these rotis, preheat a pan. There's lots of superstitions when you're making roti, and one of those superstitions is that the first one never comes out right. Once the roti starts to bubble up, flip it over to the side and flip it over. Some melted butter going on top. The other superstition is that your mother-in-law won't love you if you don't make good rotis. I don't believe that. Next one into the pan, starting to bubble up. Each home, each family have their own way of making rotis. This is my way. I don't add butter in the dough. I prefer adding it only when I cook them off. Last roti going in. There we have it. The potatoes look ready. They've changed colour. Quite orangey now. Tomato is going in. Use the wooden spoon and just mix that through. In go the beans. Stir that around. There's enough water in here. I like the beans cooked quite soft. Let's start with the Fritters. The first thing you need to do is to preheat the oil over a medium heat. And now for the batter, self-raising flour, some water. The water just lightens the batter a bit, and full cream milk. Pinch of salt. Use a whisk and work the ingredients together. You need to break down the lumps in the batter. The batter's ready. Let's start with the filling. And for that, I've got a cup of chana dal. It's been cooked until it's really soft, and you cook it until the moisture evaporates. You don't want the dal too watery, otherwise it won't hold its shape. To this, cardamom, a pinch of salt. I've toasted some sesame seeds, about a tablespoon. I've crushed this to release those nutty flavors. Nibbed almonds. These add a lovely crunch to the filling. Desiccated coconut. Now, coconut also absorbs the moisture, so it's an important ingredient in the filling. And then the sugar. Stir for a bit. I prefer actually doing this with my fingers. Also gives you a good sense of what the filling is like. If you find your filling too soft, add a little more coconut. The consistency is perfect, and roll them into little balls. That's done. Back to the batter. One last whisk. My grand's quite a pro at this. She does it with her fingertips. I'm going to use a spoon and drop one of those balls into the batter. Now be quite gentle when you're doing this. You don't want to dent the little filling. And then into the oil. Next one. Those two are ready. That goes into a sieve or a strainer and leave that to drain. Now for the rest of them. Grease the pan with non-stick spray before you put the oil in. That prevents these from sticking to the bottom. And turn them around so they brown evenly. That's the last one done. I've been keeping it simple with my Purtassi inspired feast today. We've got sugar bean curry, homemade rotis. I'm serving that with some pickle and carrot salad. And the star of the show, those freshly made wirinders. I'm going to tuck in now.